Okay, here we are again, April the 22nd, 8:15 a.m., and it's another day in the stock market. It looks like really interesting. We just hit this like 15-minute candle right here. This one here was actually beginning to impulse, but then this one just happened just a few minutes ago. So it's kind of interesting. Good morning, Alvaro. Alvaro is in the house. So I'm just talking because these live videos, they start off right away and I don't like to have the silence in there. Just taking a little bit of a gander. Everybody go ahead and come on in. Pull up a chair, pull up a cup of coffee. How's everybody doing today? Another day, another dollar. Another day, another dollar. AJ's in the house. Lynn is in the house. Gilliande is in the house. SK is in the house. SK, I didn't see you yesterday. Felicia's in the house. Beverly's in the house. And of course, we got the bilingual stock market channel leader himself, Alvaro, in the house. Guys, I've been messing with my audio settings. Is the audio okay? Can somebody give me like a quick thumbs up or it's good to go? It seems like it's been a little low, so I turned it all up. But if I'm blasting your ears out and I need to turn it down, let me know. Oh, okay. Okay, so you were there yesterday. Hey, anybody want to give me an audio check? Audio good? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Okay, very good. All right, well, here we go. Let's go ahead and get started with the day. As I said, I don't know if some news just came out or just the 8 o'clock to 8:15 spike. You know, you're going to see these things a lot of times. If you look back on your charts, you go into like a 1 minute time frame or a 5 minute time frame, you'll notice that like these times when it actually bounces up or bounces down, those will be at like right at the numbers, like 7 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock, right on those even numbers when the market opens or certain traders actually enter the market. So we already know the deal with the SPY. It's pushing tight up against resistance. It's dying to get over resistance. It's already been extended. So let's take a quick look at what happened overnight in the news, okay? I'm not going to spend a lot of time in the news. I am getting tired of the news, you guys. The news has been making me crazy. I'm tired of the ping pong up and down. But if you are trading the taco trade, you are winning almost every day. The taco trade was another good trade yesterday. The stock market, when the ceasefire expired, and then J.D. Vance did not go, to Pakistan, stock market began to worry. But then, lo and behold, Trump came out. He extended the truce. Not only did he extend the truce, but indefinitely. That's a pretty interesting idea right there. Indefinitely extended the truce. So, however, we are not out of the hot water yet. This is a huge overhang on the markets. It is incredibly volatile. I'm not sure that swings are such a great idea unless you just have very strong disposition. So anyhow, Iran has called this blockade an act of war. They continue to be pretty defiant in all of this. All I know is that I read the charts. And so yesterday when J.D. Vance did not show up or was already at the White House and wasn't going to Pakistan, that was big news, right? So anyhow, what I saw was a breakdown on the charts. And I'm in the Dominican Republic, and I'm happy for that I don't mess around with the news too much. All right, we got to talk about some earnings today, guys. So I'm going to just go ahead and I'm going to take this, put it over to the side, and let's go ahead and pull up the earnings here so we can look at what's on deck for earnings. The big one on deck, obviously, is Tesla. So here we are. Tesla is going to be coming in after hours. Now, what are we looking at for Tesla? Okay, well, Tesla is coming in after hours, and it's going to give us a broader idea about what's going on with the semi and the auto segment. I really feel like less and less Tesla is actually a auto sentiment sort of play. Alvaro, you're a big guy on Tesla, and you've actually followed it a lot in the past. don't you feel like it's more along the lines of like semi and AI? That to me seems like where it's at. Anyhow, a bad print on that, I do believe, will actually extend to some of the other mega stocks as well. So moving over to the other earnings, we got a lot of other earnings that are on deck as well. So this morning, actually, we have Boeing reporting this morning, and I'm not sure if they've reported it yet or not already. So let me look in my, yeah, I'm not seeing any kind of gap up or gap downs or anything like that on Boeing, so it probably hasn't reported yet. AT&T is also reporting, and then we also have ServiceNow and IBM. And Lam Research, Texas Instruments, all of these are going to give us a really good feel for how is the AI trade going to go. Is this a buy the rumor and sell the news kind of a earnings report? It has been. Okay, there's been at least the last two earnings report where I've seen the stocks rip and then pull back. It didn't do that on the previous one. I'm trying to remember who it was that reported last week. But anyhow, Southwest is going to give us another gauge on how transportation is going, a little bit on the economy, and the idea of how gas prices are actually affecting the stock market. So that's it for the earnings report. Overnight, or during the day yesterday, the oil became pretty elevated, and the dollar was actually moving up, and since then it's actually moved back down. So right now the dollar is actually it's flat actually is what it is. The VIX is down. TLT is actually up, insinuating that interest rates are down a little bit. That's actually driving gold up a little bit. So the dollar's a little bit soft. Gold actually is moving up. And then on top of that, when you look at this as well, we look at this guy right here. We'll talk about Bitcoin a little bit later, but Bitcoin is the leader in the pre-market, by the way. But crude oil is actually kind of flat to down. You can see in the price range, just right here across the price range, is just kind of flat to down. So it's giving the market some room to breathe right there. So that's what's going on with the Bitcoin and with that. So we also have the Fed chair is going to be doing some more talking today. He said yesterday that he would not lower interest rates just because Trump wanted him to lower interest rates. And actually, that actually drove the market down. So this is something that we do have to kind of keep on our radar, is the fact that the Fed chair is actually having some conversations today, and I just hate those. I hate those. It's so much. It's so much show, for the congressman. It's like they're not even really questioning the person. They're actually just doing a showcase for their own people. So here we go. I want to start with the pre-market heat map. So let's take a look at that really quick. And that's right here. Pre-market heat map, who's the winners and who's the losers right now. Take off the middle range. We're only concerned with the outliers. Trade on the edge is what I always teach. So there you go. Boeing did come out with earnings apparently. They actually are spiking up right now. I can see that in this chart over here. So and then Marvell continues to be up. I think it's a third pre-market show that they've been up. Oracle, so that IGV play, guys, is actually doing very well. And Bloom Energy, Western Digital, all of these guys, it looks like it's a risk-on market. Adobe had some interesting news that came out. I also saw a really nice Adobe commercial yesterday. I'm going to be looking at Adobe on a swing. I'm very interested in this whole IGV space here for a swing. So I'm going to be trying to find something there, and I'm probably going to put out a video on Thursday doing a takeout on the IGV specifically. It looks like Hood and Coin are actually having a very nice rebound. They both gave back something yesterday, and then today they're doing very nicely. They had a great week last week as well. So very interesting pre-market setting up. Risk on in the pre-market is what I'm getting out of this. Risk on. Okay, let's take that off. Guys, this this max pain chart has really been informative. Yesterday, I told you that the market maker would really want to get it somewhere between 705 and 700, and we ended up like dropping down right here. I'm going to show you guys right now. That was our drop down right there, 702. Right? So we dropped down to 702, right in what 702.5. How much more in the middle can you get than that? I didn't think we could get down below 700. That was just too much to ask for. And by the way, the market only dropped like 0.67%. It seemed like a ton, didn't it? The market only dropped like 0.67% or something like that. So here we are right now. We got all these calls stacked up at 705. You see how the market's like changing? Before, remember, there was hardly any calls in the system. We got calls today now at 705, so that's something to pay attention to. Right now, we're trading at 709. The next high call wall is in the 710, 711 area. So the market maker would love to get it down below 705, but or at least keep it around 705. The max pain is 705 on this chart, as we can see right here, and that's for today's maturity, okay? Let's go ahead and let's look at what the week ending maturity looks like. And the week ending maturity, we still have a lot of puts in the system. So right now we still have that put wall at 700. We got it at 701 now. It moved up. 701 is our put wall. That's a huge put wall, 90,000. I mean, to get down underneath of that, it's going to take something significant. If it does get down underneath of that, you could look at a very serious gamma squeeze, taking you at least down to here and possibly even to here. What's that number? 683 and 689. So if there's some news that ends up actually acting as a catalyst to get us down below that, this is going to take significant news. It's not going to take your typical administration thing that, oh, we have a deal. You know what? Everybody's coming to the table. We've heard that a million times. Okay, or the deal's off and I'm going to make everything a wasteland. We've heard that a million times. You know what's going to take? It's going to take action. So we all of a sudden see something happening in the Gulf where bombs are being dropped, ships are getting attacked, whatever. That's what actually could drive it under. Other than that, I don't see us getting underneath that 701. That's a huge put wall, guys. So pay attention to that. All right. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at, let's just do a quick look at what happened yesterday in the market, and then we're going to move on and get started with the SPY and start looking at some charts. I want to spend more time looking at charts and less time kind of looking at things. But you could see yesterday, as I said before, we had pretty much the whole market just kind of moved down. But, you know, what felt like was such a significant move, you know, really wasn't that much of a move when you look at it. I mean, really, we're only down on the NASDAQ was only down 0.59%, and the SPY was down 0.63. Of course, the Russell, you know, is a little more sensitive and was down 1%. But none of those numbers are huge compared to what we've been going up. And in fact, in regards to like who won the day, you know, it was kind of split as far as like buy sells on the bull bear look there. So the heat map, you know, the heat map didn't look so great. It was mostly red. But you did have enough things in there. And, you know, one of the things that's actually been fascinating is actually looking at AMD. The strength in AMD has just been insane lately. So there's that. Okay, enough of this. Let's go ahead. Let's take a look at the SPY. Let's get some levels. Let's go ahead and start taking a look at some charts. All right, we already know that the SPY is pushing against, I've showed it so many times, I'm not going to zoom out and show it again. This is your daily channel that we're in. It's been running up on the top of this daily channel, kind of pushing against it. It's been flattening out. It's been setting up a congestion up here just underneath of this. That is bullish, you guys. That's bullish. Even though you've got two very strong areas of resistance right here, that is very bullish. And so the issue is, can it get above? It's going to need to get above. We're going to need to see the day two continuation. But if you see this and then a test and a go, that's actually very bullish. Can it get above? I don't know. I'm still just not sure with what's going on. You get a signed peace treaty, not a signed deal, but at least an agreement of both sides on what's going on. I could see this ripping up above. Without that, I really have my wonderings about this. I think what I'd like to actually do, though, is what I like to do, because we've had this incredible push all the way from here, right? And what I'm looking at also is that I'm looking at two different trends. We have this trend right here, but then we have this trend that started right here, and you can see that trend broke. But what happened since that trend was we just went sideways, right? So that's called a pullback in time correction. So right now we're having a pullback in time correction. So will we just continue to kind of march along here and then try to get up above that? That's actually, once again, it's a bullish consolidation below resistance. That's exactly what you're looking for on a breakout. However, if you have a pullback, where's the likely spots for a pullback? And for that reason, I want to pull a Fibonacci on this. So I'm going to go over to my Fibonacci tool, and I want to pull it down here from the bottom right here to the top. And when you're in these incredibly strong markets, your 23.6 sometimes is all you're going to get. So here's your numbers, guys, on your Fibonacci's, okay? Let me actually increase the font size for you guys to see it just a little bit better. I'm not going to go extra large. I'm just going to go large, and I'm going to call out the numbers for you in case you're having problems seeing them. But it's 692. 692. That lines up also with the bottom of this trend line. It lines up with this pivot high right here, which is around 695. So the 692, 695 area, we pull back into that area, and it looks like it's setting up. Also, if the 20-period moving average is actually moving up on that, this is on a 24-hour time frame chart that we're looking at right now. If you have 24-period moving average can actually move up on that at the same time, where it's coming in just right here while your price action is actually moving down, and then it kind of stabilize, you could actually look for a pullback in that area. So I would love to see it get back into that area. If you're a Fibonacci person, you don't really trust that 23.6. You really want to see get around this 38.2. That's a 680 on that. And that's also considered like a bull flag. Anything 600, anything 38.2 and higher on an impulse move is kind of your bull flag consideration. But this is where people consider to be the buy zone right here. If it pulls back into this area right here, this is what they call the buy zone. This is between the 50 and the 61.8. That's 670 and down to 680. And so that would take some significant news, but that also would take us right into the previous support, which then became previous resistance, which we busted over. So a return to that would actually be a time for you actually to begin looking to see if it's setting up a base to make a long, okay? So that's what we're looking at on the longer time frame of this SPY. Let's go ahead and look at it now under the aspects of like a daily time frame. Daily time frame. I'm going to pull that off. I don't like too many things on my charts, so just make a mental note on those. Let's go over here into the hourly. We'll take a look on the hourly and see what we're looking at. All right, so on the hourly, we got a snapback low here at 703.84. We also got two pivot lows in that whole same area. So between the 702.5 area and the 704 area right here, this is a zone right here. That looks like a zone. It's your high here, it's your low here, it's your spike throughs right here. So let's draw a zone in there. I'm not sure everybody knows how to actually use Thinkorswim, so I'm going to show you how to do this. If you want to draw a zone, use this rectangle tool right here, and we'll go ahead and we'll highlight that. And then what I like to do is then open up that tool, and I'm going to move it over a couple of days, and then I like to color it. I like to color it red, so I'm going to color it red. But then I don't like that. I like to actually have it very, very faded out. So I'm going to make it about 85%, okay? There you go, and there you go. There, now we have a zone right there. So that's the zone. If we get a pullback, we want to watch that, okay? Underneath of that, we're going down probably to the next zone, which is 698.50. 698.50 right here. It's going down to that zone if we're underneath of that. We like to play these things like this, right? We want to play, you want to actually see this kind of stuff. You want to see down, retest, and then that actually lets you know that that's solid, that's become now solid resistance. Also, if you get a moving average moving into that, so much the better. So we got the snapback. If the snapback cannot hold, these snapbacks are actually very strong when you're in an uptrend, okay? They're very strong in an uptrend. When you have snapbacks forming on the high and you're in a very strong uptrend, they're somewhat suspect. However, that snapback over there at the high actually is holding very well. You could see that it was, oops, there we go. Let's use the arrow key. It was actually, it was resistance here, and it was resistance here. Tried to get over it, and then you have your pivot high right here at 712.50. So we're sitting right here in the middle of that zone right now. It looks to me like your moving averages are somewhat flat. Your 5, your 10, your 20, and your 50. The 10 and the 50 are slightly up, as you can see. They're slightly up, but not much. Price is over top of all of those, but really this is sideways movement, guys. This is chop you up kind of action right here in between this range right here. So be very careful if you're deciding to day trade this. For me, this is actually, it's not looking like a day trade in these zones, but let's take a look at the 15-minute chart and see what the pre-market high, pre-market lows look like, because this actually does give you some significant numbers. Your pre-market high is coming in at 709.74. So your pre-market high is 709.74. You also got a snapback at that exact same spot. So that's very interesting. It's pulled back from there. It's moved into these moving averages. Once again, the moving averages are all sideways right here, sideways to slightly up. So I like moving averages that are moving like this or like that, right? If they're moving sideways, then the moving average is more of like a center balance range. Look at this, I want to show you this, okay? When your moving average is moving down like this, you can actually use it as dynamic support and dynamic resistance. So let me show you this. I'm going to actually, this is the mother of all moving averages, okay? I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put all 5 moving averages on there, right? Let's just move this off to the side. So now I have all 5 moving averages. When all these moving averages are moving down like this, what are you seeing? You're seeing that actually the 5 ended up being dynamic support until it wasn't. And then you had the 10 and the 20 ended up being dynamic support. It actually recaptured the 10, then the 5 was your dynamic support. It began to lose it, spikes through. The 10 was continuing to support it. You could use it as dynamic support because it was trending down. But now, this is trending sideways, okay? So it looks like it's actually carrying the 5 and the 10, but not for long. See, it spikes through, it spikes under, it spikes through, especially this 20 period, right? So it's over the 20, it's under the 20, it's over the 20, it's under the 20, it's over the 20, it's under the 20, okay? 5 tends to be a little bit more in line in regards to following the price action, but as far as that 20 period moving average, it's not very helpful unless you're trading on the bands, which I'm not going to show you bands, but on the mother all moving averages, I do have moving average bands where you can actually show the bands and then you can trade off of those. So that's actually why I put that in there. Anyhow, going back to what our numbers are, so we got a little micro range here. If you could see, there's a micro trading range right here. We got up above it. We just lost it right here. We got above it here, then we got up to this snapback, set the new pre-market high, could not hold that micro range, went under. It looks like what you're probably going to end up happening, once again, bouncing up and over the 20 period, bouncing under the 20 period, you're probably going to bounce down to here to the 706.28 area. And the reason why I say that is this, because, and I've showed you guys this before, this is what I call equilibrium in the markets, but when you see that, then you can see this as well. Right? So that's just the way the markets are. The markets just love equilibrium. Where are we at on the balance range for the aftermarket or the pre-market? we're looking at, this is your trading range right here. We're trading on the upper 1/3. It's not drastic right now, but if we were to open right here, I would actually look at the idea that, once again, and I've showed you guys this before, maybe it's a little bit of a long, but then people decide to take profits. That would be like an opening play. What are your plays on this? Once again, I like this pre-market high right here. We got a little bit of overhead resistance, obviously. We do have, we are contending with this gold line right here. That's your weekly trend line right there. It has been respecting that. You've seen reactions to it. It wasn't able to get above it and hold here, so it lost it. That's where it lost it there. It looks like it's wanting to come back up and retest that again today. The market seems to be a little bit bullish. If it starts up a little bit high on the range, it's probably going to open a little out of balance. You could probably wait for a pullback, into this area here, and then maybe that is your pre-market low as well, right? Maybe you could actually pick that up from there, and then maybe we can get something going in this direction. Okay. For me, I do prefer to actually get on either side of the pre-market. My preferred trade is always this. Okay. So that's my preferred trade on this. So there's your levels for the SPY. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at the future, the dashboard over here. And what I wanted to do today, instead of actually just looking at the dashboard and running through every single thing on the dashboard, I actually want to start doing some more charting. So this is what I love to do, is charting. Bitcoin is having a heck of a morning. It's up 4.83%. It's up 1% on the week. And the price action is actually pulling back in the near term time frames. Actually, let me do this. Let me actually extend this out a little bit so it shows those. All right, and we'll just do like this, and I'm gonna pull that over. All right, so anyhow, it's pulling back in those time frames. Let's take a look at it. Let's see what Bitcoin looks like right now. So looking at Bitcoin, we got ourselves a very nice uptrend, and I'm gonna have to actually draw a regression channel on that without a doubt. So over here in this one here, we're gonna go ahead and maximize this. Oops. Not maximize that screen. We're going to draw a regression channel from here. Come on. There we go. There's your regression channel right there. Okay. There's the regression channel. It's trading right now in the middle of that regression channel. This is actually looking pretty constructive. We're in the 24-hour time frame. Let's take a look at let's maximize this time frame. And let's zoom it out just a little bit. Okay, so it's actually, look at this. It's recaptured this pivot right here, 76,190. We got ourselves a gap up above. Do you guys see this? We've got a gap right here. It's actually it's actually come down and kind of tested the top of that gap right now as we speak. So it's got that gap. It has a trend line. This was a different regression up channel that I drew. This is the weekly right here, and then this is what I call a spike through. So when it's actually, this is your main, but then they have spike throughs. So it looks like it's walking up in a very nice and consistent manner. I'm liking the way this is looking. We got a downward trending 200 period moving average coming to meet it. It could possibly get up to about 85,000 before it actually really wants to have a problem here. And that's on a longer term time frame. So I think what this is actually, what's driving this, what I'm looking at, is probably those interest rates kind of softening out a little bit. And maybe Bitcoin is one of those ones that we've talked about where people who have missed the rally are looking to find something to get into. So let's take a look at it on the 1 hourly time frame chart. On the 1 hourly time frame chart, it's actually retesting right now a snapback high right here. So it had a snapback high at 78,545, and you can see we're kind of putting in a reverse bull flag right here. I would be cautionary about this. So it's probably looking at, here's your flag right here. It's probably looking to actually pull back a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised if that snapback actually holds right now and it pulls back into that 76.20 area, which was the previous snapback. So that 76.20 area would be an area of consideration, especially too when you're looking at this 20-period moving average moving up. You also have a pivot right here at 77.80. And you also have this middle zone, which you can see there's a lot of action that ends up happening at that middle zone. So if it comes into that middle zone, into this whole area here, it looks like between 77 and 77.620, it could end up finding some support. So not sure if anybody here is interested in Bitcoin, but if you are, that was one of the ones I think we should have took a look at. So let's go ahead and I'm kind of, oh, here we go. Let's do this. There we go. I was looking for this guy right here. So oil is up. Oil is now up. I don't know what news actually just hit, but you know, oil is a big consideration. So let's take a look at oil. So oil on the, let's go back out and look at the multi-charts just for a second, guys. I'm not sure how much you like for me doing this, but it really gives me an idea what's going on. I mean, we just had this incredible move from here to here, and we're looking at kind of like a balance range right here, where this is kind of like your massive trading range, and then you have an upper trading range right here, and then a lower trading range right here, and then you have basically empty space right here, right? It gets down below there, and it could be a very, very fast departure back down into this 66 area. I really believe that 80 is going to, you see these spikes here, these spikes. I believe 80 is kind of the floor right now for oil. Okay, I know that was very messy, but I just wanted to get a feel for what we're looking at in regards to oil. I believe oil has, just because of the macro circumstances, it's pretty much going up. So let's take a look at this 4 hour. I think that I'd like to actually just look at price action, which sometimes even me, I create all these indicators, I just want to look at price action. And I do love this regression channel because it automatically draws it in for me, kind of takes away my bias, although I get to decide where I put my dots. There you go. So it's actually putting in a reverse bear flag. Look here. See here? It was doing the same thing here. And let me just show you what I'm talking about when I say reverse bear flag. Here's your down, and then here's your bear flag. And what I keep trying to show people on these reverse bear flags is eventually the breakout seems like it's almost always, not always, there's nothing that's an always, okay? But almost always it ends up actually breaking up. Now, in this regard, it actually, let's get rid of this regression channel. In this regard, it actually put in a proper bear flag right here. This is a beautiful bear flag right here. Had your breakdown here, but then that's all it gave you. So it gave you basically only this portion right here. Let me show you. It only gave you this portion right here, which is a bearish, it's a bearish rising wedge. It gave you that portion back, and that's all it gave you. So that was a shortened bear flag reaction, and that's all you got. And from there, you got bullish. So that's interesting, and that's something to pay attention to. Sometimes you don't get the full length of that. What I'm saying to you is this, okay? The full length is right here. This was your full length right there. So that would insinuate that from here that it should have moved down to right there. However, it didn't do that. What it gave you was this full length right here, which basically got you to there. Got it? So anyhow, a little lesson on that. Now, what are we looking at right now? We had ourselves a bear flag right here, and then it did pull down to there. That's a very nice ABC pattern when you look at it. We had another one, and then this one pulled down into the regression channel, and now we're actually pulling up into this regression channel like this. And I don't know if that's really the pattern or not. We break up above this regression channel. That's looking actually pretty bullish for oil. Right now, oil is looking pretty strong coming up off the bottom right there. and that wick on that bottom was 78.80 area. And that actually, when you look at it right here, that actually was a very strong area right here and right here. And so when you look at that, that actually is probably an area that would make sense to, let's go ahead and do another rectangle, guys. So I'm going to do a rectangle right there on that. And look at that. That's your low right here too. So let's take it from there to, it's a very wide range. I'm going to grab this wick right here. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to extend it to the left, and then I'm going to go ahead and change the color. There you go. So look at this. So here's the deal, that when you do these kind of box things, it is helpful in regards to, look at this. It's showing me right here that that's actually the upper trading range right here. And it picked that up and then pulled back up off of it. I'm just curious now. So I don't have my indicators on, but I do have an indicator on this, I know, which is my Pivot Pro. And I wonder if my Pivot Pro will grab that automatically for me. Because the reason why I actually do those indicators like that, Pivot Pro and stuff like that, is just so I don't have to actually draw things all the time. And you can see right here that actually Pivot Pro did pick me up. It picked it up at 87. It picked it up right here. So good for that. That keeps my charts kind of clean. But I do occasionally like to put these zones in there just so I have the bottom of that zone as well. And it also picked up this snapback right here, which is also equivalent to this whole same area right here. 91, it has on pivot high, is actually pushing into that 91 area. And we also got a snapback up here at, what is that number? Snapback at 92.32 is where our snapback is. So 92.32 on the snapback on oil. Let's go ahead and let's run this into the, you know, I do like trading oil actually. So I trade USO though, so I don't trade the oil itself, but occasionally it's good to actually look at the actual instrument. Look at this though. I do like what we have going on here. We're pushing into this resistance right here. And it looks to me like it's wanting to actually go higher. So that is a headwind for the stock market, as you know. You should have oil on your charts to see what's going on. A lot of people will put on things like the interest rates and stuff like that. But this oil, if it actually ends up spiking up and it gets up back up into that 100 range, it's going to mean something. Pre-market high for oil, it's testing the pre-market high right now. That's 91.6. Pre-market low is way down here at 87. You know, if it's going to get weak, it's going to get down below that pre-market low. It looks to me like going into the open, oil's looking actually pretty strong. So. All right, what else are we looking at here? Silver's dropping. Everything else is just kind of flat. Gold is up slightly. We can take a look at that in a second. Your TLT is up. So TLT is up. The dollar is soft. Your bonds are down. The VIX is down. Market's risk on right now, as we mentioned. So moving on to that. ETFs, RK leading the way with 1.42, down for the week though. And down yesterday, 2.73 out of the open. Kind of mixed price action across the time frames. Keep going. Let's go into the sectors. Semis are leading the sectors. Let's take a look at semis. I'm going to move this off screen now. And in fact, it would probably be easier if I just put it on here. So anyhow, we're going to move into the semis right now. So there you go. There's your semis. Just insane. Just insane. Guys, I expect it's buy the rumor, sell the news. You heard it here first, okay? I told you a week ago or a week and a half ago, IGV looked like it was actually setting up to be a long, and now all of a sudden everybody's in IGV. I think it's time. I'm not selling, okay? I'm not selling, but you know what? You can markets don't only go up. They don't only go up. So there is your trend right now. It's in the middle of a trend. It has had no pullback since the beginning of April. the end of March. It has had no pullback. The semis are insane right now. And I want to pull a fib on this. How are we looking on time? 8:54. I know I'm doing things a lot differently than I do it normally, but I'm hoping that you actually appreciate that we're spending a little more time in charts, because I think that not only can I help you with that, but then also as you're doing your own charting, you can learn from what I'm showing you. 20-period moving average is moving right up into this 38.2. What a buy this would be if it'll pull back into this 431 area. However, these stocks like this, when they're this incredibly strong, I have waited before. I say, okay, finally, this stock, it's pulling back. I can't wait. If it comes into the 38.2, I'm going to start to look to get into the stock. This stock could easily pull back here and pull back quickly into this and then rip right back out of it. 444 is your number in regards to the 23.6. I'd pay attention to that number. It's up in every time frame. The moving averages are all up. It's stacked. We know that the semis are the place to be. The semis are what's driving the market right now, so we all know that. Let's take a look at the extended sectors. I love the extended sectors. I feel like this gives me more of an idea of what's going on in the market than any of my other watch lists. And I think SK actually made some money last time I called out Mara. Mara is leading the pack on the day. Not saying to get in, not saying to jump into that blindly, okay? So anyhow, Mara is leading the pack. By the way, thank you, Aisha, for letting people know to smash that like button. Really appreciate the support. IBIT, that's a Bitcoin play. That's also up. This is insinuating that the interest rates are pulling back. People are looking for a place to put money. Now, you know what? IGV, the word's out on IGV. So you know what? I think we're trying to actually, this may be the next area. And also, by the way, another YouTuber actually kind of pointed out to me that a lot of times the Bitcoin will follow IGV. So Bitcoin's a little bit late comer to the party. Maybe it's time to get into that party. Silver's leading the way also. We got GDX. GDX is on the top side, gold, your copper, IGV, semis. All of these guys are up above XLI, XBI. USO is down on the bottom, okay? Despite the fact that oil actually in the futures was pulling up a little bit, your energy plays are down and Chinese plays are down as well, as we can see. So other than that, I'm not really too much interested. It's pretty much just flat after that. Let's take a look at, is there any of these that we want to take a look at? No, I'm not going to do it. I want to look at the next thing. So Google is leading the way on the Mag 7. And then you got Amazon. On the bottom of the pack is Apple, Microsoft, and really all of these guys are down on the week. So they've had a pretty good run. They're doing pretty good today, but they're all down on the week except for Microsoft. Microsoft being that IGV play. You know what? Let's take a look at Microsoft. I think that one actually. Go ahead and put in the chat if you got something you want me to look at. Somebody asked about ServiceNow yesterday. I told you guys if it pulled back to 99, look to buy, and it actually pulled back to 100. Didn't quite make the 99, so I thought I gave you some pretty good advice on that one. We're looking at Microsoft right now, and it's in a bull flag. It's in a beautiful, beautiful bull flag. I am really liking this when I look at it over here on the hourly time frame chart. Here's your bull flag right here, right there, and right here. And my drawing's not that good, but I'm trying to be quick. We got a snapback high that's actually testing right here on the 4-hourly time frame. That's significant. Snapbacks, when you go into the higher time frames, they become less and less, right? You also put in a really nice snapback low right here, and it held for numerous candles and then even a massive retest right here. It's putting in a little bit, I don't like that bull flag getting away from me like that. You guys know I don't like that reverse bull flag. So anyhow, what do you got here? We're looking over here on this 24-hour time frame chart. You got a little bit of this action going on right here. But you know what? It's not flying up on this end, actually. So you're almost looking like a pennant. Okay. And once again, we got a snapback there on the high, too. So it's going to take some energy to get over that. We want to build up some energy. We want to build some pressure right here. We want to pressure, 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 and then breakout is what you're looking at. That's what you're looking for, okay? So we got that snapback high right here. We got a snapback high right here. Even on the weekly, we're formed a snapback high. You know, I'm telling you right now, I don't have time to show you, but if I showed you all of the snapbacks on the weekly, you would see that it's not very often that you get snapbacks that fire. We got snapbacks, oh my God, we got snapbacks that also fired in the hourly and also in the 15-minute time frame chart. So let's take a look at this. Let's get some numbers for you on this. We're going to highlight Microsoft today. So if the market decides it wants to get bullish, I think this might be something to look and get into. This is that pincher play that I was telling you about. So previous support is going to become, previous resistance could become support. So here it was. Here's your snapback, and it held, it held, it held, and it held. And now we've been building pressure, building pressure, building pressure, building pressure. And then on top of that, you also have the 20-period moving average pushing up and pinching this. This is called a pincher play. It's from a book that I'm reading right now. This is called About Price Action. I can't remember the name of the author. I can never remember his name. So I'll get that to you on the next live show, okay? But look at this beautiful triangle consolidation right here. Triangle consolidations do not, I repeat, triangle consolidations do not have to break up to the upside. However, if this decides to break up to the upside, this is your play, right? That's your play. If it decides to break down to the downside, that's your play, okay? Now, this is bullish because we have all of this underneath of us, right? We got all of this right here. All of these people right here underneath of us right now makes this bullish, okay? That makes it bullish. We have a lot of bulls underneath of that. So this is set up very nicely. When you look at this as well, you also have this snapback low right here, which is also very significant. So you have the snapback low, you have a pivot low, you have a pivot low. It's held every time. It looks like it's trying to capture this 20-period moving average, which it's actually been honoring on the way up. And then it went sideways. You guys remember what I told you sideways, right? So underneath the moving average, over the moving average, probably underneath the moving average, over the moving average, right? So now we're looking at the idea that maybe it's going to go from this trend to your pullback in time trend to now this trend. I think don't get me wrong. Once again, as I said before, you know what? You got to play price action, okay? So I hope that I'm always clear about that. My bias is to the high side, but it could easily pull back into this range. Pulling back into this range, it has all of these buyers here that are willing to support it, okay? They believe that this thing is a long. I don't think that these are your Johnny-come-latelys. I think these are a lot of people that want to hold this through earnings and through that actually feel like this is a good investment. So I do believe that we're actually looking to go to the high side on this. All right, guys, it's 9:03. So here's the deal today. If we get some talk is cheap, okay? That's what we're going to say for now. Talk is cheap, all right? So if something ends up happening that drives the market down, then maybe there's some consistency and we end up coming down to that 23.6 or the 38.2 Fibonacci's, okay? Other than that, this is a don't sell this market. If you sell the market, don't stay long, okay? All right, I really appreciate you guys. Everybody stay green and have a great day, okay? Thanks so much.